I bought a cargo van. I bought a cargo van. So I should be like super excited, right? This is the most challenging thing that I have ever done. So I'm extremely excited still, don't get me wrong. But along the way, in these 30 days, I have definitely made some mistakes. I've learned my lessons. I scratch my head. But the way I operate, we have to get through these mistakes and we have to grow from them extremely quickly because we have bills that we have to pay. So let's just do our first rant, because you're going to be getting weekly rants and every other day rants and random sporadic rants as I learn more. So let's start with a recap of the first 30 days and how I got here in the first place. So in 2020, I was 100% sure that I wanted 18-wheelers. And I already really started thinking about it in 2019. But I needed an entryway to 18-wheelers as far as like some time to let my authority season and just like a baby step into transportation, because I don't have my CDL and I know that transportation is an industry that makes a substantial amount of money during recessions, and I want things that are essentially recession proof and generate me more money essentially. So that's what I did. I kept the vision, and we even did vision boards in like May. And when we did the vision boards in May, I said I was starting my transportation business this year, and I did start it December 2020. So December 2020, my credit went up to 750. I was super excited. And really it went up in like October, November. I had a friend of a friend who had already said back in May that he would drive for us if we ever started the business. And we were like, well, if you get the authority, like, we'll pay for it. Like, let's just go ahead and start. But that part fell through. So now we are in November, I contact him and I say, hey, my credit score went up. I need to go ahead and get the van. Well, actually, it was a 26-foot box truck, because we had established that a 26-foot box truck was what we really needed to get started. I want to go ahead and get the 26-foot box truck. But, you know, I'm green. I don't fully know where to start, but I know he had some experience in the industry. So it would be a good idea for me to essentially start with him and working with him. So he said, well, you know, I have some people who are working with cargo vans right now. They're making like this amount each week, more like $5,000 a week off of each van. And I'm like, cool, that works. Number wise, when I'm going into the dealership, I'm doing math based off of those numbers. What I did not know and what I did not do at all, big mistake, did not research cargo insurance, general liability insurance, regular commercial trucking insurance. That is expensive. That is the most expensive insurance I have ever paid for. And I have paid for a lot of insurance in the past 90 days. A lot. That is the most expensive insurance I have had to pay for. And still am paying for every month, because that it just literally is the most expensive insurance ever. So I didn't calculate for that. So that increased it a little bit. But I was like, you know, it's still, I should be getting $5,000 a week. It should be enough room. So of course, after we get the vehicle, then the person kind of doesn't respond. They just kind of like disappear for a couple days. So now we're kind of stressed, but we're like, you know what? We're going to figure it out. We're going to go do laser ship. We went, we did laser ship, started that the next day. Hit the ground running. I think we got the vehicle on like Thursday. On Thursday, we did no, we got the vehicle on Wednesday, did orientation Thursday, we started Saturday. Hit the ground running, did it, had a good little run in the country, but we established that doing packages is a lot of work. And unless if you're getting a certain dollar amount per package, it didn't like balance out very well for us. So we only did that for about four or 5 days before we got a referral to work with another broker. And this broker was getting us loads that were like paying $200, $300 easily. So I went from making about $160 a day, $200 a good day on laser ship, but that took all day, or like $180 still taking all day, but those packages paid less, to making $200 because I did a 200-mile run in one day, which essentially took about 4 to 5 hours out of our day. And I think about, from a driver perspective, when I'm not on the road and I'm not like team driving with him, and when we're replacing ourselves and putting other people in the vehicle, I think about the work that I want them to have to do on a daily basis. And I don't really want them bending over back and forth, but I have this desire to pay people and pay people very well. So I have to figure out how to make my system work so that I can essentially pay people and pay them well, because that's my goal. Like, that's what I want to do. I don't want to do this forever. I want to put other people in a position to where I'm starting to pay them $1,000 a week. And then I want to then once I accomplish that goal, I know I'm going to have a new goal where I want to pay people $2,000 a week. Like, I'm just going to continue wanting to pay people more to be able to give people a different opportunity. So that's always what my goal is. I don't think about myself. I think about the people that I'm going to be able to replace myself with, and the opportunities that I'll be able to give the people that I replace myself with. So, yeah, I was super excited. I'm not doing laser ship anymore. Now I'm working with this broker. Great, right? Then I learned about dead hauls and deadheads. The first few routes were local, $200. We get super excited. We get a Texas run. This is also part of the problem. We started our business in December, and I did skip a part. As soon as we started got the vehicle, I did go ahead and register for the authority. I'll make a separate video about that, of my authority process. I'll kind of give like more broken down videos of what happened along the way, to give you like details. But this is like the overview recap of the first 30 days and all of what literally just happened. So we did those short little runs. I think it was like to South Carolina real quick and back. Cool. Now we're excited. We get a Houston run. This is the week of Christmas. The week of Christmas, we left on Sunday. We picked up the load on Saturday or Sunday. It was scheduled to deliver on Monday. So we rested here. We went and took the drive from Atlanta to Texas on Sunday so that we could wake up in the morning at 8 a.m., drop it off and deliver and get another load. This was the first time we experienced being stuck. So we were in College Station, Texas. And then we were like, okay, it's time for us to check out. Like, we stalled as long as possible because we didn't have another load to go anywhere. But we'd always been super close to Atlanta before. So like, when we dropped off in South Carolina, he was like, just go ahead and head back to Atlanta. By the time we get back, we'll have something. Like, literally, we had things every time we were on our way back to Atlanta. So now we're in Texas, and we're like, oh my God, we don't have anything. And we're like, okay, well, let's be patient. We'll wait. And I'm like, well, what area should we go to, just so that we can be closer to potential loads? So we ended up deciding on Dallas. We went to Dallas. We stayed with his family. When we stayed in Dallas, it was great because now we're cutting on expenses as far as hotel goes. But then we start to calculate, because the longer we sit here, that was Monday, the longer we sit here and we're making no money, the van is still accruing a fee, because we got a insurance payment we have to pay. We have a vehicle payment that we're going to have to pay. So we have to make sure that we're maximizing our time. So we eventually gave up on waiting, which was Christmas Eve. We stayed essentially 4 days with no loads. And we tried to get in contact with additional brokers and things like that. But because we were so new, finding people who were willing to work with us was an issue. But the second issue was because they didn't want to work with Sprinter vans. They wanted to work with 18-wheelers, and some of them, of course, were willing to work with box trucks, but a lot of them just did not want to do Sprinter vans. They didn't want to do anything with them. We got excited. I think it was like the 23rd before we left, we found this great run. It was from like a city in Texas down to Miami. We thought we would get it. Then the broker didn't say anything to us, because our dispatcher was really cool. Like, he was like, use my MC, that's fine, that's not a problem, just let me know, send them my information so I can go ahead and finalize the load, and I'll get you taken care of. But then she disappeared, and we didn't get that $1,100 run or $1,600 run. I think that's what it was. It was like $1,600 from Texas to Miami. We didn't get it. So we're out hurt again. But Christmas Eve, we dead-headed. Dead-hauled. One day I'll figure out which one of those is actually right. We dead-hauled or headed back to Atlanta. Now at that point, almost breaking even, because we stayed so many days. Versus if we would have went home the first day, we would have had more loads out of Atlanta. And that was just because we hadn't fully built all the relationships that we needed. And to be honest, like, my brother-in-law has helped us so much, because we also would not have this broker in the first place if it weren't for my brother-in-law. So it's definitely a learning process. The expenses are higher than what I honestly really expected them to be. But that part was a lesson learned. So the number one things that I would say to do before you purchase your vehicle: talk to brokers. Make sure that they are willing to work with you, and you already know who you're going to work with before you have your vehicle. Go ahead and sign the agreements. I've seen 10%, I've seen 30 and 40% when you're running under somebody else's MC and DLT number. And that's okay when you're first starting off, because you need your DLT number to age anyway before you're going to go anywhere else. I'm huge on honesty and transparency. So I don't care if I'm paying you 40% if I know that I'm paying you 40%. But if I'm paying you 40% and I think I'm paying 10%, then I have a problem. But I have another broker now too, who we're starting to work with. We haven't gotten loads from them yet, but I'm really hopeful, because their mileage is supposed to be a bit higher that they're getting per mile. So number one, like I said, make sure you have spoken to a broker. Make sure you know which brokers you're going to use, and by all means, get more than one. Have more than one in multiple states too, so that you are prepared and you're ready and you are on their list. Number two, call them, follow up with them every day after you have your vehicle. And during the day, call them multiple times during the day, so that you're on their mind, so that they're not just sending their loads to everybody else instead of sending them to you. I bought my vehicle with my business credit, so I thought. But I bought it with my business credit and co-signed, which still made it hit my personal credit. And I didn't know that that was going to happen. So, take time to build your business credit before you buy your vehicle, because you can build your business credit in like 6 months and be able to buy a vehicle completely in your business's name without your personal guarantor. That's definitely the best advice that I can give for that part. Pay attention to your equipment. I have more equipment than what I need. I have an extended tall roof T350 Ford cargo van. I have yet to get a load that fully required me to have an extended cargo van. I have yet to get a load that was tall enough to require me to have a tall roof van. So I'm essentially paying for space and extra features that I don't really need right now because I haven't gotten a load that really made me need this. Versus I could have gotten a smaller, less expensive vehicle and still gotten all the same loads that I actually got. And be ready to put in work. Be ready to break even sometimes. Be ready to be in the hole sometimes. And just grow from your experiences and don't give up. Because by no means am I giving up. So my driver and my partner in this, we're learning together. So like I've done businesses before, he's driven before, but it's totally different when you are looking at it from a whole perspective of like owning and operating and the different expenses. Doing your DLT number, your MC number is easy. You don't really have to pay anybody to do it. I promise you, I will have a video up that walks you through it, or I'll just link you to the video that I literally used to show me how to do it. I did it all by myself, and my authority is back, like in the 21 days. I did it like December 13th. I got my authority back 2 days ago. You can do it. So I don't want anybody to feel discouraged about doing it, but I do want to help somebody not make the same mistakes that I made, because I made some mistakes and I'm going to make some more mistakes along the way. And I promise you, there are days that I want to cry, I want to curl up in a ball, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so stressful. But I know I can't give up, and I know that this is something that's getting me to my ultimate goal. And this is just a part of what I do. Like, I still have a whole nother business that I'm operating. I have a whole nother business that is about to launch. So I already know that this has to be done in the next 30 days. Like, this has to be scaled in the next 30 days. And I'm going to figure out a way to do it. I'm definitely going to figure out a way to do it, because I see this as something that has to pay somebody's bills, and it has to pay for itself. And it's going to. I talked to another driver last night, and he was like, the biggest mistake he made was getting a Mercedes Sprinter van. And he was like, you learn just like I learned. It's not always needed. Sometimes we can go the less expensive route. It's not always the best to have the biggest, shiniest thing. Because I didn't ask questions at the dealership. We were just so excited we finally found one that was in stock. We were like, okay, we want it. I didn't know we had lane assist, collision assist. What else do I have? I have Wi-Fi in the van. Like, I didn't know I had all that stuff. I would have rather have some heated seats over some of the features that I ended up getting. But I had no idea. And then, of course, they upsold us on the gates in the back. I don't regret that upsell, only because I feel like I never want to be responsible for something happening to somebody. And if for any reason somebody ever had to slam on the brakes and something wasn't secured correctly, I'd rather them have this gate than we didn't have the gate and it just flew through and hurt somebody. So this upsell I still feel like was worth it, but it kind of makes the van heat weird. So you get hot and sweaty. Just a whole situation. But this is my first rant of getting a cargo van and what I had to do and what I'm going through. So this is going to be like my little diary of getting through it, and maybe I'll take y'all on the road with us sometimes and show y'all like the conversations that we have, and maybe we'll even be real transparent and like have our money conversations. But you know, this is it. This is cargo van life. I have a load that we're going to drop off in the morning tomorrow. We just dropped off one in Savannah this morning, but I'm working on consistency and finding those consistent loads and getting extra loads because I want multiple vans. I want multiple 26 feet box truck, 26 foot box trucks with an S, and we'll see if I still continue in my 18-wheeler journey or if I keep a smaller fleet transportation business. Who knows? But this is definitely a family affair because everybody's kind of doing something in the transportation industry now, and I like how supportive the industry really, really is, because for the most part, people will just tell you information, and I've never been in an industry like that. I've always been in cutthroat catty environments. So drop a comment below, ask me any questions, make sure you subscribe. I know I'm supposed to say that in the beginning, but I didn't. But make sure you subscribe, because if you have questions, you're definitely going to want to follow this journey, because how I pull this off and how we get through this journey, I have no idea how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen because I am not, with a capital N, a capital O, and a capital T, giving up. I refuse to give up. So this is baby number 1. And then there's going to be baby 2 and baby 3 and baby 4. So I hope to see you next time.